So it has been, it's been a tumultuous past few weeks. It's been a lot going on when it comes to city council. So let's start from the beginning. Should we start from the beginning? Or
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if we would take the whole time.
But let's go from our last breaking story. Councilwoman Tiawana Brown facing a federal indictment. She had a news conference last Thursday, appeared in federal court on Friday over charges for fraud related to COVID-19 relief programs. Then yesterday, I know I'm kind of hopping on the timeline a bit, but CMPD Chief Johnny Jennings announced his resignation and the details of his payout. We actually had the journalist that broke the story here on Live Impact News. That Johnny Jennings situation, Chief Jennings situation, playing out before that with a payout, stories of a payout coming out, text messages between council member Tart Bakari over out of carrier vest. In between that, we got a new city council person, Edwin Peacock. A lot. How did I do, Julie?
I really enjoyed that.
Okay. I know it's kind of hopping the timeline a bit, but
it was nice to hear someone else say it.
Okay.
I've been doing this for weeks now, and that was refreshing.
Okay, did it make sense though?
Yes. I think the general consensus we're hearing is there's so much going on. A lot of them intertwine. For example, Tart Bakari left, and that's why Edwin Peacock had to fill this seat temporarily. This information about this payout from Johnny Jennings that was released because of the pushback over this settlement over text from Tart Bakari. I will say the Tiawana Brown thing is entirely separate, but all of these things are what we're looking at tonight at City Council.
This is the first City Council meeting since a lot of this stuff sort of unfolded?
Since a lot of the big stuff. So we knew about the allegations of corruption and allegations of some form of settlement that was alleged at the time to be about those text messages from Tart Bakari to Johnny Jennings over those outer carrier vests. That information that's new is the fact that that is an agreement from the city with Johnny Jennings for his retirement. So that's new information. The Tiawana Brown indictment is entirely new information. And we were dealing with all this already. I remember I was at that city council meeting where the mayor and multiple council members had a public discussion about what that looks like going forward and transparency. And here we are weeks later where we've had a little bit of that transparency, but we've also had some more elements added to it. So there's just a lot to look at. I'm curious to see if they're going to address it in the same way right at the beginning of the meeting like they did last time, or if they're just going to try and move forward. It's a big agenda, so we'll see.
It's a big agenda. They have a lot to get to. We were talking about this after the morning editorial meeting, but it's the elephant in the room. It's bigger than an elephant at this point. We were talking about this after the meeting. You've been trying to get in touch with a number of the city council, all of the city council members, quite frankly, and they were supposed to meet with airport workers today. Can you take me through that? Because you were hoping that would be an opportunity to see them face to face, right?
Yeah, and I have not gotten a hold of any city council members to talk about this since this news all broke over the weekend. Again, yesterday was Memorial Day. Of course, this initially broke on a Sunday, so that's not too surprising. At this point, I would have hoped to hear back from someone, but we're going to try again. Today at 11, airport workers were planning to meet at the government center where city council's offices are and the mayor's offices. This is not the first time they are pushing for a case ordinance, which would essentially be higher pay to help with their really high turnover rate. Anyone who's been to the Charlotte airport knows that there's some difficulties. It's a big airport, lots to do, and so they're saying if we had higher pay, we'd be able to keep people on longer, and hopefully it would be a smoother experience for everyone involved in the city of Charlotte. So they actually had letters that they hand wrote, hundreds of letters from airport workers describing their experiences and why this case ordinance would be so important to them. For example, I talked to one man who his job is to help people who are in wheelchairs get from point A to point B. He says, I have to usually push 2 people at a time. And that is obviously a very stark image of just what that looks like. Of course, when we're dealing with staffing shortages, that kind of impacts communities like that first. And so that's a very telling image. However, And I don't believe necessarily that Charlotte City Council RSVP'd to this, but they did have quite a bit of heads up. I've been getting emails about this for a couple days, if not over a week, from their PR person or their communications person, and they were expecting someone to at least be there, considering there was a City Council meeting later that night, still is, and they were hoping to hand deliver them, but at some point they got word that none of them were there and no one was coming down. For someone who has not been to the government center before, you cannot just go upstairs. You have to have a key card, of course, for security reasons. You couldn't just show up and deliver it to their office. So they stayed in the lobby and we talked to them there. But I asked them, I said, hey, are you worried that this drama that's going on is going to impede council's ability to actually get through stuff on the agenda? This isn't necessarily on the agenda, it's on public forum agenda. They plan to talk about it there, and I'm sure they're going to bring up the fact that we wanted to deliver these letters to you and you didn't show up. But that was kind of the consensus I was getting, and I'm wondering if that's what we're going to hear tonight at public forum from all sorts of different reasons that people are speaking, is it might come back to, we need you guys to, I guess, get past this in whatever sense you can, whatever that looks like, so that we can actually get stuff done. There's a lot on the agenda tonight. For example, things that would normally warrant a story on their own. They are updating their energy action plan, most likely. They're going to vote on that. So things that would be their own story already are kind of getting overshadowed by these multiple other angles going on.
Anything on that agenda that sticks out that is sort of the biggest priority right now when it comes to business matters at hand, right?
I do think that action plan is going to be very big. They've been talking about it for a while. It's something they originally voted on in 2018, and this is an update to that. So this is a very long-term strategy that they are updating, and there was quite a bit of discussion on it last time. Of course, development in Charlotte, there's always development on the agenda.
Right.
So, and our development reporter, Walker Lawson, will probably be following up on that in the next couple days to see what they do. But a lot of that, and then, of course, the public forum. We expect a lot of concerns to be brought up, things that may not be on the agenda, but anytime we get a chance for the public to speak, especially with what's going on right now, I think that's what we'll be paying attention to.
If you do get a chance to speak with somebody, I know you're going to be there at the government center ahead of the meeting, someone being someone on city council,
Yes.
I should preference. What's that first question you ask them? Because, I mean, you've been trying to get in touch with them. What do you ask them?
I think at this point, what everyone seems to want to know, the most impactful question is, how do we get past this?
Yeah.
Kind of what we were just talking about. How do we actually get work done while this is going on? Tiawana Brown has made her stance very clear. I'm not resigning. I'm going to run again. Of course, if she is found guilty, she will not be eligible to hold that seat. So we'll have to deal with a whole other filling in of that seat. But, you know, cross that bridge when we get there. She's made her position incredibly clear. I don't know how long a trial might take, but that's something we're looking at in the coming days or in the coming months. But the immediate impact is what now? And I think that's what people are really going to want to hear. How do we get past this? I actually texted former Mayor Jennifer Roberts and I said,
Oh, yes, yeah.
what do you think about this? So she mentioned, you know, transparency has always been a big part of her platform. And there's a lot of really good people, she said, working on these plans. We're in budget season right now. We're not voting on it tonight, but the following meeting in 2 weeks, I believe, or maybe 1 week, is when that budget will be voted on. That's a huge concern for everybody right now. She said, yes, we're going to get through this. Yes, there are good people working on this, but maybe there are some things that can make information a little bit more accessible that would help. She mentioned maybe adding someone into that budget who is solely responsible for FOIA requests or Freedom of Information Act requests. Those, for example, that's how we get documents from the city. That's how we get contracts, how we get closed meeting minutes if we're able to get them. So that, having that in a timely manner for any of the stations, any of the organizations, news organizations in Charlotte would kind of expedite that process. And she mentioned a couple of other things that were all very transparency focused. I know the city attorney was originally very clear that, like, this, because it's personnel matters, is not subject to a Freedom of Information Act request. That later he had to work with Jennings to be able to release that information from Jennings, not from the city. She mentioned some clarification on what that means and how that happened, because there appears to be some sort of disagreement. So I think that is kind of where people are looking next. How do we move forward with transparency, and how are we able to get information a little bit faster going forward?
Julie K, you have your hands full. You have your hands full, but you're doing incredible work. And we chat about it from time to time. It is a lot going on, but you've been doing a great job.
Thank you.
Reporting on it.
Keeps it interesting.
It does keep it interesting. Julie, when are you live during the newscast so people can catch you?
We'll be at 5 and 6 right as that meeting gets started.
Okay. She's live at 5 and 6, and you can catch up on all of that's happened with City Council. Go on our website right now, WCNC.com. Download our app, WCNC Charlotte mobile app. Julie, thank you.
Thank you very much.